Final Flame, we are back with another FPL live stream. As we know, it's early o'clock, 6 a.m., 5 a.m. EST. Yeah, it is early, but we're up, and it's game week 30, and I'm glad that we have the FPL deadline back. Got something in my eye. There we go. Sorted that out. But yeah, we are back with the FPL Game Week 30 deadline. So we're going to be taking a look at all the normal things that we normally would. So captaincy choice, which seems to be quite diverse this week. The goals imminent table, as per normal. I've already made my 2 transfers, and I'm wavering potentially on the captaincy choice. So we'll take a look at, like I said, at that as well. And I'll be taking your questions as we normally do in the chat. So if you are watching this over on YouTube, make sure to come check us out on Twitch. The link's in the description below, or there's usually a pinned comment on every YouTube video as to when our next live streams are. So make sure to come check us out for that one. And yeah, also wanted to say happy Easter to all of those that are celebrating it. Don't eat too much chocolate like I will be tomorrow, because it makes your stomach, quite upset if you eat just chocolate the whole day, but I'm used to it at Christmas time, so we're going to definitely be doing that. And yeah, also a little bit on a bit of a sad note. If anyone watches AFTV or had watched AFT, obviously Claude, it was announced that he passed away in the middle of the week, so I just wanted to say, thoughts out to him and his family. I hope he's resting easy now. So yeah, he was one of the reasons why I, as a United fan, even watched AFTV, and when he left, obviously it took a bit away from kind of the ambiance around the channel and whatnot. So yeah, thoughts go out to his family, AFTV, and all those who were basically kind of mesmerized basically by the channel. It was weird, me being a United fan watching a Arsenal fan channel, and it's just, he was one of the realest guys that I've seen for Arsenal, and he always stuck to his opinion, much like myself. Yeah, rest in peace, Claude. But yeah, the show must go on, as they say. But yeah, let's we got a fantasy week to deal with here. And speaking of Arsenal, they have a tough fixture versus a Liverpool team that could be back on the surge. And I have a battle plan to kind of show you guys how I'm going to be tackling my transfers. And I've basically found a situation where I don't necessarily have to use the free hit in 33, and I may be able to save it for later. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, I still have something in my eye, and I'm going to put my AC on because it's a bit on the warm side. I'm going to wait for it to start making noise. And put it on quiet mode. There we go. Alright. Having a nice Easter so far, I am. Also, Sonimar R, thank you for the follow as well. But yeah, as you can see, the 2 transfers I have made are up on the screen. So, the transfers that we have made already. I wonder if I can change. Let's see. Nah, I can't change it really. But basically, the transfers I made thus far has been De Bruyne out for Fernandes, as well as Cancelo out for Azpilicueta. I just feel that I want Fernandes in for the next 4, and I'm actually gonna see if I can find my open. I'm gonna find my battle plan and just have that on the back burner, basically. Do I captain Rafinha, Bamford, Bruno, or Kane? Well, I mean, it is definitely a very, very tough decision this week because there's players on there that are, quite good, basically, to choose from. And we might as well go straight into the XGI table. So let me move this over a little bit here so that we can all see. But yeah, basically, sorted by expected goal involvement. I could probably make it a little bit bigger here. A little bit bigger. There we go. That's perfect. So yeah, expected goal involvement. This table is sorted by. This is big chances created, as well as big chances they're getting, as well as chances created. And if you look at expected goal involvement, Kane is obviously at the very top, and that would make sense because Kane's been doing quite well over the past. This is over for the last 6 matches, 5.26 expected goal involvement. But if you look, Antonio should have scored a lot more. Um, he's had 5 big chances, the same amount as Kane, which is second on the table. He's created 8 chances, which is quite good as well. Shots total 11, and 10 of them have been inside the box. He's just been very very unlucky, and he's expected to have scored at least 2 more goals than what he already has done. And I know that he had one big miss, definitely versus Arsenal. Definitely should have scored. How come I'm captaining Rafinha? I just have it on him for the time being, but the stats show that Rafinha is or should be quite good. I mean, he's also versus Sheffield United, who they're just gonna keep getting worse and worse and worse, in my opinion. It is a situation where they changed managers from somebody who's been a boyhood club fan in Chris Wilder, a player in Chris Wilder, and then to managers, and then for him to leave the dressing room, I think is a big loss for them. Just kind of mentally, they see, oh well, this guy who's come through Sheffield United through and through, and then they just replace him with whoever. Basically, I think the guy came from Bournemouth. Yeah, that could have a big hamper on the players. I mean, Sheffield United probably knew that they were going down, so I don't understand the change in management. It just doesn't make sense. And I think that Leeds are one of these teams that they're just very, very good on their day. I mean, if you look at the last 6 matches, and we saw it by chances created, like nobody's even Rafinha has 7 more chances created than Bruno Fernandes, who's been nuts on the chances created stats, which just shows you that if Rafinha had a bit more consistency for people scoring in front of goal, he would have double-digit goals coming out, all angles basically. And if we actually take a look at Rafinha, he's only had 1 double-digit hole the whole season. The 13-pointer at Newcastle. Everything else has been single digits. Like he could have had. I'm trying to think of a game offhand. From what I can remember, I want to say it was the Newcastle game. I think was it Newcastle, the home fixture. There was one game earlier on in the season when he was first coming into the team, and he could have had an absolutely ridiculous haul. But overall, I think it's just Rafinha's stats look crazy. And if you're a fully stats man, you would go for Kane or Rafinha. Is Bamford on penalties? I believe so. I think Matthias Klick has to self-isolate, and he was the other person that could be on penalties. So I think that he isn't playing, so I think Bamford is definitely going to be on penalties. But yeah, basically it was like keep going until you miss type of thing, and then it goes back to the other person. So I think Bamford is on penalties. So Leeds haven't had a penalty in a while, from what I remember. Gotta get this. Eyes really itchy today. Ow. There we go. Who to sell out of Stones and Diaz for Alonso? John Stones, I would say. Just because Diaz would start more games in the run-in, I would think. If the money was no option, obviously, I would sell John Stones over the likes of Diaz for Alonso, because I think Alonso is a very good 1 week punt. I personally am not going there because of the fact that he could be rotated the following week or whatever. Even though I don't think he will be though. I think that if I had to guess which games Alonso is going to play, he'll play versus West Brom because they have no real threat down his side. So if you think, does West Brom have any player down the right-hand side-ish that's going to cause him trouble? Not really. Crystal Palace, they do. They have Townsend or Eze who can play up there, so he probably won't play. They'll probably play against Chill. They'll probably play Chilwell then. Brighton down the right-hand side. No, most of their threats down the left, especially without Lamptey, so I think he's fine there. West Ham down the right-hand side is Bowen, so probably not. Mind you, West Ham might sit back a little bit. Fulham, nope. Lookman's on the left-hand side, so I think he should be okay for Fulham. Man City, he'll probably... I mean, they're probably going to not have as much of the ball, so maybe they do play Alonso. Arsenal, everything goes down their left, so he'll probably play then. Leicester could be a bit tricky, because that could be like... they could put Ozzy Perez out there, who's quite good. And Aston Villa's Traore, so probably not bad at either. So, yeah, it's weird. It's kind of Alonso plays against the teams where they need his height, / they can get away with him not having to track back as much. I'm wildcarding next week. Not sure to own any City players. I mean, yeah, that's... it is something that I've considered, basically. The only one I'm keeping is Gundogan, just because of price point. If he doesn't play, and doesn't come on, like if City go up like 2-0 and just like are holding off the game and Gundogan doesn't play at all, like I'm perfectly comfortable with having Target come off the bench or Lookman come off the bench or something like that. I'd be perfectly, fine with that. But yeah, moving forward, I would say probably, again, you can't be assured of starts. I mean, we'll probably have more information for when City go into this stretch. But the players, so like if I look at my transfer sheet, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I lose Gundogan in 33. And I don't bring a City player back in until Gameweek 38. And that is going to be Sergio Aguero, because I'm pretty sure like we can pencil that in as a Captain Aguero game because it's at home. There'll be fans back. It'll be the last time he gets to play. Of course Aguero is going to play. Literally, if Pep doesn't play him for the rest of the season, he's going to play in 38. He'll make sure that he's fit for 38. So that's the punt that I'm going to go for in 38. Bamford or Rafinha, overall, who's the best captaincy choice? See, I think... Excuse me. I think I would say the opposite. I would say Rafinha is better. And that's mainly just because Rafinha also gets shots off. He's on set pieces. And he creates so many chances. He just needs somebody to put them in the net. Like, there was one game... I can't remember who it was against again. But basically, it was their center back Cooper had, like, 3 golden opportunities from set pieces. Like, he could have literally had a hat-trick. And Rafinha could have had a hat-trick of assists from just him that game. It was, like, nuts. But I would say you can't go wrong with either or, because like Rafinha's going to be putting in the assist, Bamford's going to be scoring, and then, if Rafinha's also going to score as well. So I think both of them could do well this week. I would probably have Diaz and Gundo, might get Shaw and Neto instead. Yeah, I mean, Shaw's quite good. I would say probably... the good fixtures for Shaw is probably, Brighton at home should be a clean sheet. This is just thinking from just Man United perspective. Spurs away, they'll want to keep it tight from when the last time they played them. Burnley should be a clean sheet. Leeds probably won't be a clean sheet, but could be attacking returns. Liverpool at home. United will probably just want to, keep a clean sheet there as well if they can. Aston Villa could be a bit tricky. Leicester could be a bit tricky. And then Fulham and Wolves should be clean sheets. So I think Shaw for the run-in is quite good. And I'd be more likely to, so if I had to choose, would you rather get rid of Azpilicueta or Shaw if money was no object? From 35 onwards, I'd be ditching a Chelsea defender. Chelsea have Man City, Arsenal, Leicester, Aston Villa, whereas Shaw has Aston Villa, Leicester, 2 of the same fixtures, but then they play Fulham and Wolves, who don't score very much anyway. What's the hype of West Ham players? Don't really see it from next week. Well, West Ham have been just doing ridiculously well from what they have been, basically. They have a good run of fixtures. So Wolves away, they should be keeping a clean sheet and should be winning that game. Leicester at home should be tricky. Newcastle away, I mean that should be quite easy. Newcastle in a relegation fight. Chelsea at home could be tricky, but again, it is a London affair, so a bit of a rivalry there. Last time they played, they obviously got you know pretty hammered, but no pun intended for hammers. But so that's probably the tricky one. Burnley away, that should be a clean sheet and a victory. Everton at home, that could be either, could be quite close. Everton is in and around like the kind of the European conversation. And then Brighton, West Brom, Southampton to end the season should be 3 victories. The way West Ham are playing and how they have. So yeah. What's the best team to own from now to game week 33? Well, let's actually take a look at the season ticker. We can take a look at the season ticker. So from now until 33, so we'll minimize that. Sort by difficulty, and in terms of attack, Wolves, actually. West Ham, Fulham, Sheffield United, and Burnley seem to be quite good fixtures for Wolves. Chelsea's up there as well. So I would say Chelsea defense, I would say, is definitely in consideration. Wolves defense is probably up for consideration. In terms of teams to stay away from, obviously, because some teams have blanks and whatnot. Spurs have the double, although they have Man United mixed in with it, so I think that's why they're a little bit lower. But I would say Spurs is definitely up there as well. I would put Spurs like probably third, just because of the fact that they have a double. So Kane and Son. In terms of defense, Chelsea's up there, Leicester's up there, even Liverpool is up there. It's kind of weird because if you're going into a wild card for 31, there are things where you can kind of weigh things up. So you say, okay, I probably get rid of all my Leeds assets except for Rafinha, who I'll just keep on my bench. I want to bring in Liverpool. I want to bring in Leicester. I want to have maybe a Chelsea defender or two. I want to have maybe a Wolves defender. I maybe want to get rid of my Man City assets. These sorts of things. Yeah, I would say Chelsea defense. I would say Spurs for sure. I would say probably a Leicester player of some kind. I would say a swap of goalkeeper from Martinez to somebody else. But yeah. Sausage, pudding, eggs, beans, fried mushrooms, hash browns, toast, juice, coffee now served up. It's not bad. That's not bad. That's a proper breakfast right there. That's a proper breakfast. Beans on toast, mushrooms, hash browns, eggs, any way you like them. I assume you're saying blood pudding, or maybe it's a that like bread looking thing. What's it called? Is it called English pudding? No, it's something. It's basically like a bread thing. It's kind of like a crossbreed between like bread and like a croissant, kind of. Not bread pudding, but you guys know what I mean. But yeah, it's that sounds like a pretty good breakfast. Not a big fan of coffee or tea personally, but definitely would have a nice tall glass of orange juice for sure. Any better 1 week punt than Alonso? Aguero in 38. That's what I would say is probably the only better punt, just because of nostalgia and the fact that he's probably going to play. But yeah, Alonso this week definitely is probably the best possible punt that we could probably imagine. But yeah, I mean, probably the most dire thing that could happen would be that Alonso doesn't play and then comes on for like a point or something like that. That would kind of suck. But I think Alonso is going to play. Like, the more games than Chilwell will, so. And we've seen that. Good morning, Zaka. How's it going? Aguero captain in 38. Yep, he is 100%, unless literally injured. like, and proven injured, and even then I might not believe Pep. He's my captain in 38, 100%. Emerson starts today. Yeah, that'd be hilarious, wouldn't it? Just not even Chilwell, not even Alonso. Just have Emerson. Like, I would love to have Alonso this week, but again, I picked Aspilicueta because I'm just gonna have him, Mr. Consistent. He's gonna play every game. I don't have to worry about the team sheet, hopefully, and I'm basically gonna have him until 34, 35-ish, I think. Where's my transfer thingamadoogle? So yeah, I'm planning to get rid of him in 36. So 36 would be when he plays Arsenal. So basically the final three. And I'm going to bench him versus City, I believe. Yeah, I have him on the bench. So basically my transfers are going to look something like this. And let's bring up the transfer screen. So yeah, so I've made my 2 transfers for this week. Next week, I'm going to get rid of Martinez. And I'm going to bring in Patricio, assuming he's fully recovered. Because I like him for the run of fixtures. So he has Fulham, Sheffield United, Burnley, West Brom, Brighton. So I'm going to play him for all of those. I'll probably play him versus Everton away. And then for 36 and 38, Areola has Southampton and Newcastle. So I'm going to play him for those. And we should be good for the goalkeeper. In 32, I'm going to get rid of Lookman and bring in Jota because they have leads. In 33, this is where I can choose to free hit or not. Hopefully we'll have more information by then. But basically the player I'm looking to potentially bring in is the likes of Saka. Because he has a nice little run of fixtures. You know, Everton at home is a home fixture for Arsenal is always better than away. Newcastle and West Brom, and then we might play him versus Crystal Palace or Brighton, but we'll see. Yeah, it's these 3 fixtures that I like, and we'll be able to judge him from Sheffield United and Fulham, and where Arsenal kind of stand if they're still vying for a European place. The other alternative is Trossard. Because he also plays 2 easy fixtures in there with Sheffield United and Leeds. So we're potentially looking at him, and it would just require an extra hit to go down to somebody else after the fact. Then in 34, look to save. 35, we would go Fernandez to the likes of Mohamed Salah. In 36, we would still have 2 free transfers. So this is where we would get rid of Aspilicueta. We would get rid of Jamie Vardy because Vardy's fixtures would run out basically. So he would have these 3, which are quite tough, although he can score versus them. We would go to Bamford for the final 3. I would like Calvert-Lewin, but I can't really go there without changing a lot of things up. And then Trent Alexander-Arnold. Because obviously Liverpool's fixtures from 36 onwards are as clean sheets as you can get, basically. Then in 37, we would take a hit. We would get rid of our Spurs duo because they play Aston Villa, which is tough. And Aston Villa may be fighting for a European place by then. We bring Fernandez back in. We would also bring in the big Englishman for West Ham up front. He has West Brom and Southampton to end the season. And we can also bring in Wilson potentially here. Because they have Sheffield United and Fulham. So I do have an option for both, which is quite nice. And it'd be nothing like having a relegation potentially striker on the last game of the season where they need to score, basically. And then lastly, we would take out Watkins on the last day, and we'd bring in the big man up front, Sergio Aguero, and he would be our captain for 38. But yeah, that's how I would. That's how I'm potentially gonna go about it. How come you're playing Cresswell over Target? Just so I don't have double defense. Basically, is the short of it. That's what I would. That's the only reason. Would I like to play Target? Of course, but I would rather play Cresswell because I think they have an equal of chance of getting a clean sheet, but also the fact that Cresswell has probably a bit more threat from set plays, and it makes it so that if Aston Villa do concede a random goal um, to Fulham, that it doesn't hamper my team as much. Um, Plus, Cresswell is a little bit more money, so I kind of feel the need to kind of play him. Would I like to play Target this week? Of course, I would definitely like to play Target this week. But can I justify playing Target over like Gundogan or something like that? If I know Gundogan plays, like it could be like I'm hoping it's a shootout between City and Leicester. That's what I'm hoping. That would be ideal. But yeah, I like Target this week if you have him. But I can't justify putting him in over Vardy because Jamie Vardy can score against anyone, or Gundogan if they both start. But again, is Gundogan not going to start? I think you're pretty safe on City assets this week. Like the only player that I can see maybe getting rested out of like the mainstays is John Stones, and that's just because of the amount of games he played for England. But Gundogan played 3 and 3, so. And Pep talks about rhythm a lot, where players like, so I use this example in Pep Roulette, where basically there was a situation where Aguero had been resting for 2 weeks, not playing international football. Jesus flew to South America, played a whole bunch of games, whole bunch of minutes, came back, and we were thinking, oh yeah, Aguero's going to start, so everyone brought him in for that week, and Jesus played. So he likes playing players that have consistent match minutes. But again, with City assets, rotation's not new. You pick the players that you think are going to do the best for Man City. If they happen to be benched, you'll take 30 minutes off the bench. If they don't come off the bench, that just makes you have a good first sub. And that's why I put Target first over the likes of Lookman, because I think what's more likely, Target to get a clean sheet, or for Lookman to get a return, or Fulham to get a return in general and get rid of the clean sheet. So I put Target first. But yeah, it is what it is with City. Who will be my captain this week? Honestly, I need to start considering it a little bit. And we'll get back to the XGI and attacking upper table in a second, as well as the goals in minute table. But I have it on Rafinha at the moment, just because stats kind of point all to kind of Rafinha in a sense, him and Kane, and also there was tables that was brought up on FPL Black Box, where basically it was shown like the number of double-digit holes that were against certain teams, and Newcastle do a lot better at home, I believe, when it comes to that sort of thing. And Kane hasn't really gone absolutely, like he went nuclear versus Crystal Palace, but that was at home. But away from home hasn't really done anything. So Arsenal 2 points, Fulham 2 points, West Ham 2 points, City 2 points, Brighton didn't play, 9 points versus Sheffield United, 2 versus West Ham, 2 versus Liverpool, 2 versus Chelsea, 9 versus West Ham. The only real nuclear one that he went was obviously Man United and Southampton. But obviously those were situations where like Southampton just imploded and United had a man sent off, and it was already bad from the start. So yeah, it's a bit tricky. It is a bit tricky. But yeah, I think if you're going Kane, I think there's reasons to show that he's obviously going to get a return. That's the thing. The players I think who are going to return this week, I think Fernandes will return. I think Rafinha will return. I think Kane will return. So it's just a matter of who's going to return the most, basically. So, but I think Kane will probably be the only one whose effective ownership is over 100%. I think Bruno will be close or on the edge. I also think that Kevin De Bruyne is also a very good captaincy shout. Gundogan's also a captaincy shout, assuming that they start, and that's because Leicester have given up quite a few double-digit figure holes this season when they play at the King Power Stadium, which is really weird because you would think that Leicester would be better at home, but they're actually better away from home, which is quite interesting. So, who will be my captain this week? One of Rafinha, Kane, or Fernandes, most likely. I would say if I had to put merits up against it, Fernandez, consistency, and also he did well versus Brighton last time. Um, Kane, because he's just in good form and versus Newcastle. Rafinha, because Rafinha's stats are nuts and he's versus the worst team in the league. Alonso captain, I would say if you have Alonso, I think he's an option as well. I think any Chelsea defender probably is. It's probably the most clean sheet game you're probably going to get. Alonso is probably the most likely to get an attack in return, so we'll see. I think Rafinha is the best of Sheffield United, who seems to have given up and has a guy called Heckingbottom as the manager. It can't end well. You're not wrong there, Zaka. You're not wrong there. I got him as my transfer this week. Maybe if you need a chase, but have a solid vice captain ready. Yeah, I mean Alonso. The thing is with Alonso, the one nice thing is that if he doesn't start, the likelihood is that he doesn't come on. So that your vice captain, put your vice captain on Kane, put it on Fernandez. You know, somebody you know who's going to play, and then you should be golden. True on Rafinha, but would you be surprised if Kane banged in a hat trick? I mean, yeah, Kane. The thing is, if Rafinha's playing the bottom team in the league, if Kane bangs in a hat trick, Kane can bang in a hat trick versus Bayern Munich if he wants to. He can bang in a hat trick versus Scunthorpe. It doesn't matter who he's playing. Kane is good enough to score versus anyone. It's just a matter of who do you think is going to score more. So like versus Newcastle, away from home, what do we think the likely scoreline? That's what we really have to kind of consider. What do we think the likely scoreline is going to be? Newcastle has something to actually play for. Yeah, like Zaka says, Newcastle have something to play for. They're going to go there and they're going to defend like, like their life depends on it. Hey, John Wick, how's it going? Everything is okay. Got my first vaccine shot a couple of days ago, so not too bad. A little bit of a sore arm, but nothing, too bad on that front, so we're okay. But yeah, Newcastle have something to actually play for, where Sheffield United is pretty much down, to be honest. And like, what's the likely scoreline between Newcastle and Spurs? Probably 2-0 Spurs. Whereas what could be the scoreline between Leeds and Sheffield United? It could be extremely high. It could be a 5-0. We don't know. Could also be 1-0. Who knows? The last time Newcastle and Spurs played each other was 1-1. The last time Sheffield United and Leeds played each other, I have to check a different Leeds player. So give me 1 second. Let me put this back. Because Rafinha wasn't playing for them at the time. So let me check Bamford, because he would have played. They won 1-0. So, but that was when Sheffield United were actually like defending well at the time. But I think it's a lot different story. Warning, nice team captaining Rafinha. It's either him, Kane, or Fernandez for me personally. I think. I kind of want to back Fernandez personally, just because it's Fernandez. He's just too good. Plays for my team as well. But I think Rafinha just seems to be such a good shout. I mean, honestly, I think whoever's playing Sheffield United, like, you could just captain them. Like who are the fixtures for Sheffield United? So Leeds, like, it's a great captaincy shout. Who plays Sheffield? Or like Arsenal. If you have like Saka, Aubameyang, Lacazette, captain them versus them as well. Then Wolves, captain Neto maybe. I don't know. Brighton. This is why I also kind of toyed with the fact that I would bring in Trossard. Because he could do well versus them. Then Spurs, obviously Kane is, obviously quite easy there. Crystal Palace, you're not going to get Crystal Palace players, are you? Everton, this is why I want Calvert-Lewin, but again, can't get him, really. Newcastle, again, Wilson, if I can have him over Antonio. So it's like Wilson at home versus Sheffield United, or Antonio away versus West Brom. So maybe I go Wilson, I don't know, but again, it has to be if Wilson's fit. And then Wilson has Fulham on the final day, which would be interesting to see. And then Burnley, Chris Wood maybe on the last day. I don't know. be quite interesting. Um, where we go? But Leeds have nothing to play for. No, Leeds still have something to play for. Leeds. There's one thing that I know about Marcelo Bielsa. His team could be 20th. They could be first. He's going to drive them into the ground, and he's going to make sure that there is nothing short of perfection. It doesn't matter if they have something to play for or not. He will hook you off at 5 minutes into the game if he does not like what he sees. That's for sure. He's going to make every game for him is like it's top of the league versus second in the league every game. That's what he's going to make it, you know. And they're also going to be looking to obviously improve for next season too. You know, so I think that Leeds will play every opponent as they do the same. Like Leeds will never change their strategy. You know how Leeds are going to play. Like Man City, like if I look at the teams like in the league, so teams that won't change the way they play. Leeds won't change the way they play. Man City won't change the way they play. Liverpool won't change the way they play. Brighton won't change the way they play. And probably Wolves won't change the play. Like those 5 teams, like you know what you're going to get out of them pretty much every week. Like Wolves have been a bit of a disappointment, but you know that they're going to sit deep and they're going to play on the counter and they're going to rely on some players up front. You know what Leeds are going to do. They're just going to be run and gun constantly. You know, it is... You know what you're going to get out of those teams. With Spurs could go and batter you, or they can sit and park the bus for 90 minutes. Like, it's really up in the air. Chelsea, they're going to be a lot controlling defensively, but we still don't know fully what they're capable of, even though they have been great. Leicester, you can get an up and down performance. United, you can get an up and down performance. Same with Villa. So, it is a bit tricky. But I would say Leeds is... you definitely know what you're going to get out of them. Good to know that. Oh, you're talking about the vaccine? Yeah. So in 3 weeks' time, from Thursday, I'll go get my second one. And then 2 weeks after that, you'll be fully immunized. But you still wear your mask, social distance, obviously, as well. I've backed Leeds since week 1, and I feel Rafinha captain is to rise or drop rank, as Kane will be so highly captain. Yeah, I mean, if Rafinha goes and bangs in, you know, the points, the only thing is that you'll Kane is you probably won't want Kane to score. But again, in your FPL team, you just want everyone to have points. You just want Rafinha to score more. That's it, really. You're not immunized because you get the vaccine. Well, when I say fully immunized, as in like you'll be as protected as you can. The one I've got is the Pfizer one, so that's 95%, which is basically just means you're 20 times more effective against COVID, basically. So like you can still get it, but obviously the studies show that when you do get it, it's very mild or no symptoms at all, which is basically what people want to obviously have. Not sure what that was. Yeah, that's basically you want to obviously get a vaccine, because basically what will happen is for that, kind of going a bit off a tangent here, but basically when you receive the vaccine, your body then knows how to, or memorizes what it did when it went to go beat it. And then what will happen is the more and more people that get it, then their bodies will be more and more accustomed to beating the virus and not getting infected at all. And then what will happen is you get what's called herd immunity, which is basically a situation where pretty much if COVID tries to spread to somebody else, it basically gets cut off at the source more times than not. Because more people have the vaccine and more people's bodies are able to basically beat it, essentially, which makes it spread it less, and then then we can go about back to normality again. So yeah, But yeah, that's a bit of a tangent though. Let's see, where were we in the chat? Um, but I would rather captain a guy who plays a team that is already down than a team which is fighting for a safety spot. Exactly. I mean, that's another good shout as well. Kane's versus a team that is fighting for something. That's not to say that Kane can't score versus Newcastle. Of course he can. Um, and he seems to be the obvious captaincy choice this week, and I definitely have him in my team for that reason. Um, but I'm, it's a matter of captaining who I think is going to get the most points. In a 2-0 win, can Kane score both goals? Of course, but I think that Leeds could also score 2 goals, and they could absolutely blow Sheffield United out of the water. So, and also if I want to gain rank, obviously these type of differential captaincy choices are going to be quite important to go up in the rank. And I think this week, since my team is strong, like I think that Martinez in goal is quite good. Azpilicueta, Cresswell, Shaw, having Rafinha, Son, Fernandez, Watkins, Vardy versus City as kind of like a slight differential, as it were. Gundogan's still in there, and Kane with a good backup in Target coming off the bench. I think that team is strong enough to whereas even if I fluff the captaincy, I can still end up with a green arrow this week for sure. So we shall see. I mean, I think that's what you have to look at. If your team is strong on paper, you can then take the armband and say, where can I even get a bigger green arrow? Like, can I go safe and just be like, oh yeah, I can put on Kane. Maybe he scores, cool, in a 2-0 win, gets a goal, gets a bonus point or two, whatever it may be. Cool, captaincy's fine. But could I go upside chase just a little bit extra because I know that Kane's going to get those points for me anyway? Maybe I get at least 9 points from Rafinha or something like that. Who knows? When your team looks very good on paper, I think is where you can basically look for punts, look for changing the armband to where you can get that extra bit to go up the rank. My captaincy choices are Rafinha, Bamford, Kane, Bruno, Salah, Alonso, and Dallas. Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few of them in there. Me personally, I think it's just a toss-up between Rafinha, Kane, and Bruno if I had those three. Spurs are fighting for top 4, and Bale and Son are both back. Yep, that's another situation too. I think Bale should play, just because Newcastle is the opposition. And if Bale does play, he tends to take a little bit away from Kane, kind of. But they also help each other. But it's not to say I don't think Kane won't score this week. I think he will for sure. It's just how much. And Newcastle are bad, but again. Could Mourinho come out and be quite negative in this game and let Newcastle have a lot of the ball? That's possible too. Whereas I know what I'm going to get from Leeds, and I like that. So, but yeah. Do I bench Gundogan or Cresswell? Gundogan probably. In my opinion, I would say Gundogan probably. And the reason for that would be I think that Cresswell is good enough to get a clean sheet as anyone this week. I think Wolves away is a pretty good fixture. West Ham should be keeping a clean sheet in my opinion. With Raul Jimenez in the team, that'd be a bit different, but yeah. And Gundogan could be rotated. I don't think it's likely, but again, Leicester is a tough fixture. So, but I would say Cresswell, you would start. Don't think both Bale and Son will start. To be fair, that's also possible. That is also definitely possible. Son will start though. Mourinho said he would. So, already did my transfer. Traore to Gundogan. So Martinez, Stones, Cancelo, Diaz, Lingard, Salah, Bruno, Gundogan, Kane, Bamford, and DCL. Should I take a hit for one City defender to a Chelsea asset? I mean you can. I would say if you're gonna, I would say Cancelo to Azpilicueta is probably not a bad shout. So yeah, I would say it's not bad. But I don't think City will keep a clean sheet versus Leicester, so which I think and Chelsea will, so that would pay your hit back pretty much immediately. And Cancelo might not even play, which is another thing. Same for Stones. So if you're going to get in Rudiger, I would say get rid of Stones. If you're going to get in Azpilicueta, get rid of Cancelo. That's what I would say. Where are we? The captaincy is a tough choice this week. We talked about the vaccine. I benched Gundogan due to the international games and the upcoming Dortmund game. But again, Gundogan is somebody who in that team is he's very unique in that way. He plays the box-to-box role better than basically anyone. And I don't think many players other than maybe Bernardo Silva and possibly De Bruyne, but De Bruyne is better utilized elsewhere, can play that position. So yeah, I think it's a bit tricky. I'm starting Gundogan. I think he will start. I think Pep will go as strong as he possibly can because he knows that this is one of their tougher games, and I think that he can't, have a situation where they're going into the Dortmund game with a loss. So, plus, some of the players will, be perfectly fine playing, game week after game week after game week. I mean, like look at Gundogan over the Christmas period. 68, okay, it came off a little bit early. 90, 90, 90, 51, he started that game. 60, 70, or 90, 70, 90, 74, 90, 90, 90. Like, you can play a lot of games in a row. So, I think Gundogan starts, personally. Should I start Lingard or Aubameyang? Who do Arsenal have? Arsenal have Liverpool. Personally, I don't like Aubameyang as an FPL asset. I mean, at the beginning of the season, he looked great. Midfielder, he's going to be attacking. And he just hasn't been that way. Me personally, I would play Lingard. Am I wildcarding in 31? I don't have the wildcard left. I have the free hit and the free hit triple captaincy chip left. Rafinha is so good, but the field in Sheffield United doesn't really fit him. The field is in a horrible stage at the moment. They're playing at Ellen Road though. Leeds is at home. The field is a mess, but in that sense. But if you notice, every time that they play at Ellen Road, Rafinha is one of the very few players who doesn't slip and fall over unless he gets tackled. He just doesn't fall over. It's like he's playing on proper grass and everyone else is playing on ice. It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. Yeah, Leeds are at home. Yeah. Have I uploaded a Gameweek 31 wildcard team? I have not, but I will be though. That will probably be. So when's the deadline for next week? It's on a Friday, which with my new schedule, I have Fridays off now, which is quite nice. So we have Friday deadline streams on time, which is nice. So yeah. Mind you, if I'm talking a bit funny, it'll be because I have a filling that day as well, which is not going to be fun for one of my teeth. But it'll probably be, so when's the last game? So Monday we'll do the preview. Tuesday, captaincy video. Wednesday, Pep Roulette. Thursday, wildcard. Something like that. Yeah, so it'll be Wednesday or Thursday probably, if my calculations are correct. Leeds have had 2 weeks to try and improve the pitch as well. Yeah, that's another thing that's also quite important. Leeds have been training on it, and Rafinha is the best player on it. Yeah, I agree on that front as well. Rafinha just doesn't look like he falls over. Leeds home field is like a potato field. Hey, if Rafinha can play on it, then that's an advantage for him. Bamford still has a knock, and if he's not flying, that's a huge kind of deflect. I mean, yeah, that's possible as well. But again, you just need, Rafinha can just do it himself sometimes too, so we'll see. But I think Bamford is, he should be fine. Bamford had 2 weeks in, it was just a dead leg or something. Why Gundogan over Target? Target might get a clean sheet, which is 6 points, and Gundogan will have to make an assist or a goal, and you think he will do that? I think Gundogan will start versus Leicester. I think Leicester and City is going to be, I hope it's a shootout like it was last time, but I think it's going to be a more controlling contest where City have a lot of the ball, try to create chances. Gundogan will probably play, in my opinion, and Vardy will hit them on the counter. And Gundogan scored versus Germany as well. And again, Pep talks about rhythm. And I think Gundogan is definitely good for any attacking return. And I always play the attacker over the defender when I can, just because I like that side of the game. Plus, target this is one of those situations where like target is 15% owned, Gundogan's 35% owned. If Gundogan doesn't play and City control the game and he's not needed, on the field, and target comes in, cool. If Gundogan comes off the bench for 30 minutes and doesn't get anything, that's cool too. I accept that with a City player, and that's the risk I'm willing to take. Would I like to play target this week? Of course, but then that also means I have double Villa defense. I also think that Villa will be a lot more defensively sound with Grealish in the team. That doesn't really make too much sense with a left winger coming in, but he's somebody who you can get the ball out to and he can win a foul, which he won the most in the league. And it relieves pressure off the defense. But Villa haven't been as good with Grealish out, so maybe they have to take a little bit to get back to what they were. But we'll see. Grealish, it could get re-injured, so we don't know. But I like Gundogan this week. I think if you have him, you play him. Same with De Bruyne. I think with Diaz, you definitely play him if you have him, unless you have better defenders like Cresswell, Shaw, Azpilicueta. The only player that I think from City that could be at risk is Stones. I think, because of the fact that Pep has so many options at center back, whereas with Gundogan's position, he really doesn't. So yeah. Pep will play a strong 11 and Leicester without Barnes. Madison will create chances for Vardy and Kelechi, and Stones Cancelo are good on both sides of the pitch. That last statement is definitely true. They will have Madison though, I think. Well, at least Madison is available for selection according to Brendan Rodgers. Now, last time they had him available, when he came back from this injury, they kept him out and just coming off the bench. So we will see. Leeds have been training on him for 2 weeks, and reports that Rafinha was insane on it. He's Brazilian. He grew up playing on sand. I mean, he's Brazilian. He's just wicked at football. That's how it works, for the most part. Things you'll love to see. I'm gonna go Lingard over Bale. I have Kane captain and Son already, so Bale in the mix is not too much of a risk. Too many eggs in one basket. I have him first up. Yeah, I mean that's fine too. What do I think Bamford's effective ownership will be? What is his ownership right now? Him and Calvert-Lewin are the two players I'm scared of this week. Bamford at 48.8%. I would probably say he's gonna be around like the 70-ish mark. He's not going to be over 100, I don't think. I think 70, 75 is probably where he's going to be at. I think players that'll probably be higher effective ownership will probably be like Bruno. So like in terms of like who's going to be the most effectively owned, I think Kane's going to be definitely at the top. He's going to be over 100%. Bruno's either going to be close, like very close to 100%, or like just over. So he's going to be like anywhere from like 90 to 105%, I want to say, somewhere around there. In which case, if Bruno scores, you don't really lose a red arrow for it, really. It's like 0.01 points or whatever it's going to be, 5% of a point, Rafinha's probably going to be, what's this percent? 16.8%. He's probably going to be around the 50-ish mark. Gundogan will stay where he is, because no one's really going to think about captaining City. He'll probably be maybe 40%. Bamford will probably be in the 70-ish, like I said, bracket. That's probably about it, to be honest. But I think Kane's probably only going to really be the only one over 100%, maybe with Fernandes. But Fernandes will be a lot less than that. Play 3 players: Stones, Digne, and Cancelo Konsa with Martinez in goal. I would play I would play your your 2 City and Digne personally. Because City have shown that they could keep a clean sheet versus anyone. I think Stones and Cancelo are definitely risks, but the likelihood is that they don't come on. So Pep very rarely subs on a center back, and usually it's like for like. So it's like Laporte for Diaz, as an example. And that's few and far between. So I think with Stones, if he plays, you're fine. If he's benched, you're also fine because you have Konsa come on. With Cancelo, he might get hooked after 60 minutes, but he also might come on. But I think Cancelo, if I had to choose between, if I was gonna start Konsa, let's say, I would pick Cancelo over Stones. But I would say start the 2 City guys. I would say if you think they're gonna keep a clean sheet, I would think start Digne for sure. And you have the Aston Villa defense, and if Stones or Cancelo doesn't play, the likelihood is that they probably won't come on. You get Konsa off your bench. So I think you get the best of both worlds, personally. And then you might end up with basically what Iowa says, which is basically Cancelo, Digne, and Konsa. That's how I see it. Should I activate my wildcard tonight to try to gain some money on players? Yeah, if you're dead set on, if you're dead set on wildcarding in Gameweek 31, I would say definitely do that. The only thing I would say is just make sure that players that you do get rid of, you will lose value on them if you have them, if you take them out of your team. But yeah, so just keep an eye on that. I'm benching Souček. I don't know who this is. And Trossard, a bit scared of Souček, to be honest. Potato, I assume that's a potato and like a salad emoji or something. But yeah, that's pretty funny. It was like there was what was it? It was a picture of him in the cafeteria with like a potato salad a la Souček or something like that. I thought that was quite funny. Mind you, it looked like a pretty banging potato salad. Looked pretty good. We have just over 2 minutes left. It's almost about to be 58 minutes past, so make sure you have your teams locked in. Me personally, I'm going to go with Rafinha captain. I think I have a good feeling about it. He is for Sheffield United. And I think that Rafinha is a baller and a half, so we're going to go with that. Let's see if there's any Twitter rumblings on who's who else is going with that. Mark Southerners is also going with Rafinha captained as well. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. That's what he's going with. Let's see if I can find potentially somebody else. Az is going with Kane. He's going a bit safe. But yeah, I'm going to go with Rafinha personally. And there's less than 1 minute left. Will I buy Salah? I will. And he will be coming in Gameweek 35. And he'll be taken out for Fernandez at that point. Whereas Fernandez will then come back in at 37. But I'll have Jota in 32, so yeah. Less than 30 seconds left. Less than 30 seconds left. I believe I have a screenshot of my team, but just in case I don't, let me take a quick screenshot of it. I'm pretty sure I do, because I made sure to do it this time. But yeah, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Deadline stream done. Feel like I regret not captaining Alonso, but scared of Kane's effective ownership. Me, this is how I see it. If Kane's ownership is over 100% and you lose rank because of how effectively owned he is, Cool. What you should do is don't worry about effective ownership. You captain the player that you think is going to score the most points. Effective ownership means nothing. If Rafinha scores 20 points and Kane scores 20 points, at the end of the day, it's 20 points. If you think that one of them are going to score the most points or they're equal, you captain the player that you think is going to get the most points. Because at the end of the day, that means your team gets more points, whether you have Kane or not. If you don't have Kane, then obviously you can't captain him. If you do have Kane, that's just another person where you think he could potentially score this week, but it's just how much. Kane could easily score this week, for sure. I don't doubt it. If Kane scores, great, my team gets more points. If Rafinha scores this week, great, my team gets more points. But it's just a matter of who do I think is going to score more, and I think that's going to be Rafinha. And at the end of the day, you want to say which player in my team that has scored the most points is the one that I'm captaining. That's basically your ideal scenario. Your ideal scenario is you want everyone in your team to score points, and the person that you captain has the most points at the end of the week. And whoever you think that is, that's who you put the armband on. Not about effective ownership or anything. If Kane goes nuclear, cool, I have him in my team. Fine. It's not the end of the world. I just think that Rafinha will score more. That's just how it works. So, should be a chip that can change your captain after the game week is done. That would be interesting, I think. Mind you, I think the chip system is fine at the moment. I would make slight tweaks to certain things. Like I think the triple captaincy chip could be changed. I think I'd be more interested to see, instead of triple captain, where it's like, hey, look, your player gets triple the amount of points instead of double. I think it'd be interesting to have a double captain instead. So I think like whoever your captain is and your vice captain is, they're both your captain basically. That would, I think, would be a lot more interesting than just, hey, look, we're putting all our eggs in one basket. You get triple points for this player. Whereas I think it'd be better if you got double points for two players. That'd be kind of cool. So at least the chip doesn't feel like it's a dead rubber if you blank on it, basically. Like some people have triple captain Mane and people get injured in the first like 10 minutes or something like that. So yeah. Two captains, captain everyone for your attackers, free hit with unlimited money. Yeah, I mean there are things that they could do, but I think the free hit is good the way it is. The wild card is a very good chip. I think the bench boost is a good chip in itself. And a lot of people don't like it. I personally do think it's okay, because you can get really, really good, results from it. And I think potentially bench boosting in Gameweek 1 next season could be a good strat as well. But yeah, could be quite interesting. Is the game updating? The game is updating. We didn't take a look at the goals imminent table, however, but the players who are on there is Salah, Sterling, Watkins, Rafinha, Diagne, Firmino, and El Ghazi. So those are players to potentially go on there, and Rafinha is on there, so he definitely should be scoring. But yeah, good to see someone else going Rafinha captain. Makes me feel better. Again, at the end of the day, you look at the stats, you look at the fixture, you look at the player, you look at their form, you take all those in consideration. You think who is going to get the most points, give him the armband, and I think that's going to be Rafinha, and there are other people as well. So yeah, let's move over to the big screen here. Where's the big screen? Cam. There we go. Oh, wrong one. I hit the wrong. I think you heard the Glory Man United sound for a bit. Quick second there. I have another stand potentially, because the way I wanted to set up my webcam for other green screen stuff, I can't do it just because of the way the length of the cable goes. So I have another stand coming in, and we're going to be doing more stuff like this, where I can be in front of Old Trafford and that sort of stuff. And if I'm raging in FPL, maybe I go into another thing. But yeah, so yeah, that's gonna be interesting. But we'll have that set up soon-ish, hopefully. It's been a long time in the making, but it'll definitely be before the start of next season, and we'll have even better graphics. We'll be on a good track. Also, Scope Badger, thank you for the follow as well. Good to see someone else making the cap. It makes me feel better. Yeah, I think I read that one. Turn off that ugly thing they call music. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Mind you, Zach, if you win the, I need your team to win the semifinals so that you can be going here. I now it's the Man United version, but yeah. Yeah, I need you guys to go to Wembley, because I don't want City winning the quadruple. So if you guys could win that game, that would be a good shout for us. But yeah, I've been on long enough. This has been Part of Flame. Thank you all for watching the Deadline stream. We will be back on Monday for the preview stream, and I will be on time for the Deadline stream on Friday because I have that day off. But if I'm talking a bit funny, it's because I had a filling done in one of my teeth. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and until the next one, take care.